Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Supernatural Girls. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with the lovely PK all the way from Tucson. How are you today?
Absolutely fabulously wonderful. What else can I say? It's a show we've got coming today.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've got our favorite. Let's admit it. She's our favorite,
Yes,
Theresa
she
Cheung.
Yes,
She is with us today. We are going to learn all about twin flames and the difference between that, soulmates, and all kinds of wonderful, wonderful things today. And Teresa's in the UK, so we are doing a pre-record to accommodate the time change. So she's not up all night with us, but this show is really going to be fun. I can't wait to get started.
Of course it is.
Yes,
I've never been so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed so early in the morning in my life.
This is early for us old ladies, isn't it? Very much worth it. We'll do anything, Teresa. Anything. Okay. So let me tell the audience a little bit about Theresa.
Please.
She's amazing. Okay, everybody, that's first and foremost. She's an internationally best-selling author and public speaker. She's been writing about spirituality, dreams, and the paranormal for the past 25 years and was listed by Watkins Mind, Body, and Spirit magazine, get this one, as one of the 100 most spiritually influential living people in 2023, and now she was voted in again in 2026. So very incredible. She has a degree in theology and English from King's College, Cambridge University, frequently collaborating with leading scientists and neuroscientists researching consciousness. Theresa is regularly featured in national newspapers and magazines, and she's a frequent radio, podcast, and television guest. She has given workshops at venues such as Olympia, Alexandra Palace, and the College of Psychic Studies. She hosts her own very popular spiritual podcast called White Shores and a UK health radio show called The Healing Power of Your Dreams. And here she is in all her glory. Theresa, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for accommodating the time difference. I mean, I just had to be here. I would have got up for you. Watching that introduction, do you know, there's a part of me on my bucket list. I want to be a film extra. I'd like to be some alien in the back, you know, like Alien #3 or something, have a cameo in it.
I know some great filmmakers. So yes, we're going to put you on that.
Absolutely brilliant. Love it. I don't think I've ever seen such a creative and fun introduction.
Well, that's great. Thank you. We've got to give a big shout out to Jim Bratkowski, who is a filmmaker, and he did that as a gift for us.
Keep it. That is just brilliant. I love it. As I said, I want to be an extra in the background. Maybe I could be the alien in the back seat, you know, from the UK.
That's right. Oh my God, you're going to have to do that.
Maybe your guests should be the alien in the back seat. You know?
We'd love to have him on. Wouldn't that be a great interview, huh? Anyway,
let's start with a few people.
Yeah, we would go right to the top with that one. Anyways, you've got a great new book. You have so many books, and I want to encourage everybody to go to Amazon, look at the list, and just buy them all. They're great. And I have given away your dream dictionary to so many people as a gift because it's so fantastic. So everybody, if you want to know what your dream symbols are all about, that is the book to get. Theresa Cheung's Dream Dictionary. And tonight, though, tonight, you're going to hear it tonight, but we're talking about it early in the morning. Twin Flames. Your Twin Flame Journey is your new book, your newest book. There it is. Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And there is so much to this topic. So let's get into it. What made you get interested in writing about it?
Well, I get a lot of messages from my readers and listeners, and a lot of them about relationships, you know, from a spiritual perspective, as well as a personal growth perspective. So over the years, because I've been doing this, actually my bio needs to be updated. It's 35 years now.
into it.
And so I figured I've always had in the back of my mind, because I write about many topics, to do something on relationships. And then, of course, those two documentaries that came out a couple of years ago, I believe, on Amazon and Netflix about the twin flame universe and all the controversy about that. I realized it was time, in consultation with my publishers over here, Hachette, Octopus Hachette, that I wanted to kind of set the record straight and take away all the misunderstandings about twin flames, and hopefully put people on the right heart path.
Great. So the first question, because everybody wants to know this one, what is the difference between twin flame and soulmate?
Right. You can have many soulmates in your life. These are people who balance you and support your personal growth. You can have many of them in your life, many people who walk beside you and complement and enhance you. However, only one twin flame. I often compare, and this metaphor actually has spoken to people because it's quite difficult to explain. If we are ships, soulmates are the harbors, and a ship can go to many harbors, but the twin flame is the ocean that we are called out, because a ship is built to explore the ocean, not to sit in a harbor. Although we're always seeking a harbor, we think that's what we want, that destination, but actually what a ship needs to do is to go out into the ocean. And a twin flame, if someone, and that someone could actually happen within yourself. I'll talk about the inner divine union at some point. It's someone who ignites your personal and spiritual growth, and life is never the same after meeting them. There's before them and after them. So that's your twin flame. And if you believe in reincarnation and life after death, this connection can actually happen in other lifetimes. You may not meet your twin flame in this lifetime, but in another lifetime. But you don't actually have to believe in the concept of an afterlife to understand what the twin flame is. What it really is, it's the calling to the divine source energy, evolving into your higher self. And sometimes we meet people in our lives, they're one and only, who light that flame within us. And sometimes you can only meet that person for a few moments, a few hours, but they ignite something and you just fall in love with your own personal and spiritual growth in a way that you never did before. And even if that person isn't in your life, they always live in your heart. The invisible bond is always there, because sometimes people may well be married or whatever to their soulmate. We often marry our soulmates to raise families and have commitments. But we still have this calling for the twin flame, but we don't actually sometimes need to be with them physically, because it's the mental and spiritual connection that is the strength and the power that pulls us through.
Now, we've heard that being with your twin flame can also be challenging.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, a twin flame, as I say, they see you. You know, that wonderful movie, Avatar, I see you instead of I love you. They see you. It's almost like when you meet someone and they see your soul. They see both your light and your shadow. There's no hiding when you're around this person, because they see you, but they don't judge you. They just accept you kind of as you are. Now, if you haven't worked on your own personal growth, your spiritual awakening hasn't happened, that can be terrifying, because a lot of us run away from our shadow selves and go into denial or repression and don't acknowledge there's parts of us that we have yet to explore and understand and develop. So if you meet your twin flame and you see yourself honestly reflected in their eyes, it can be terrifying, and people can run from that. It's fear of the self, really.
Interesting. Goodness. So tell us more. So how do you, like, what if you think you've met your twin flame, and you're saying it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to marry that person or spend time with them?
It can be a platonic relationship. It can be a teacher-pupil relationship. It can be a friend. It can even be a family member. If you look at the ancient history of twin flames, it's so misunderstood. We have focused mainly on the romantic, passionate connection, because often when two people, if they're not related, do have this intense connection, it does tend to lead to a close relationship. But we focus too much on that and not enough on twin flames within your family, within friendship groups, and most important of all, the inner twin flame union, which many people these days are finding, the way of the nomad, that they're finding this ability to truly see themselves, fall in love with their masculine and feminine traits, their light and their shadow, and find this inner divine union within themselves. It's almost like the twin flame is their own higher self, if you understand their call to evolution. And neither path, whether you do it with someone or without someone, is better. It's just different. We're all unique. And that's, again, what I'm trying to say in this book. You don't have to be in a relationship to find your twin flame. You can find the twin flame within, if that's what your soul feels is best for your evolution. Because for some of us, with other people, we tend to lose ourselves too much.
Women especially, yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. That, Jerry Maguire has a lot of to answer for. You complete me. That is not a healthy relationship. That is bordering on codependency, but it's what we're fed in the movies all the time.
Yes.
Stage of a relationship, which is often biology and the drive to establish a family and not to feel alone anymore. It's not the main purpose of a twin flame is to spiritually awaken you, lead you towards ascension. And we often confuse that with romantic love. There are different types of love. I'm talking about a higher love, and unconditional love. That is what twin flame is. But it can't. Sorry, I've just got to put my doggy down because he's my. Sorry. And actually, there's a whole other episode of, maybe some people are finding these days that their pets are more on,
they
where
see us, don't they? They really do. They see us for who we are. Well, there's a lot of women that are taking a totally different path today.
Yes.
A lot of men are complaining. They don't want to date. They don't want to get married. And they're like, yeah, because we don't want the distraction. We don't want to have to take care of you kind of thing. We want to take care of ourselves.
Story down the generations of what love is, which is basically, in many cases, the female being the giver, the carer, the nurturer, the supporter, always putting herself last, and the needs of the family come first. And that's, I guess, how society evolves. But you are absolutely right, Patricia. Many women today have been there, done that, and woken up and realized that it's time for their own soul to take center stage. I love the fact that song from K-pop Demon Hunters, which won Best Oscar recently, didn't it, for animated movie? Was it yesterday? That song Golden. I've done hiding, now I'm shining. And it's gone so heavily downloaded that for a reason, because especially young girls are starting to understand that this is what their life should be about. Yes, you have relationships with other people, but relationships are like a school where you find out how you're doing on your soul journey. But they want to meet their own higher selves now and really stop being afraid to shine. It's a very interesting time for being a woman. And I love the fact I talk about another animated movie that was so heavily downloaded and popular, the Frozen franchise. And, the Disney executives thought that the character, I believe it is Anna, would be the one all the girls aspired to, the one who gets her prince. And it wasn't. It was Elsa. Let it go. And then in the second movie, Show Yourself. It's wonderful because she's being called by this mystical invisible thread, and she doesn't know what that is throughout the movie in Frozen 2. Plot spoilers here, if you're listening. But at the end, there's this awesome song. Go listen to it, everyone. Show Yourself.
Yes, sounds wonderful.
Are the one I've been waiting for all of my life, and it's her own higher self. It's her own.
Miley Cyrus's song that became such a hit, I Can Buy Myself Flowers. It's like, look, I don't need the other person. I can do these things for myself. And I thought that was a brilliant song. Just brilliant.
I hate people say, well, she's saying that because she's unlucky in love. It's always like the narrative around that. I believe Emma Watson recently was talking about self-partnering. It's always like, well, they can't get a man, they can't get, or a woman, they can't get the right person to fall in love with them. It's all their fault. Often it's not. It's a conscious choice that
Yes.
they want to have relationships. And I'm sure someone as high profile as Miley Cyrus and Emma Watson, they have no problem finding fulfilling relationships, but they no longer want to define themselves by that relationship or be locked into it in the way that women were before. And, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me, we talked a little bit about these ice skaters, and
Right.
I wanted to play this in a second, Amanda, just bring it up after I'm finished talking about who they are. Most of you probably remember them. Ekaterina Gordieva and her husband, Sergei Grinkov, and they won just about every medal, everything that you can imagine in pairs skating. They were just known as the it couple. They had it all. They started their skating together when she was 11, and I think he was 14 or 15. And they got married, and they had a beautiful daughter. And Amanda, if you could play this clip. And he, unfortunately, I know, it just makes me cry when I see them. They were incredible. And unfortunately, they were training for their next tour. And he suddenly dropped dead on the ice at 28 years old. Now, when I see them, I just think twin flames. I mean, they say they skated with one heart. So this was a tragedy of the highest proportion. And what do you think about this? I mean, when somebody loses someone like that.
Yes. Many people write to me, they've met the love, the heart of their life, and they are now bereaved for whatever reason. And just watching that beautiful image, what we have there beautifully artistically depicted is the union of the masculine and the feminine, so perfectly presented like a work of art, of poetry. And that's why we cry, because it's their union, and you can feel their invisible strings connecting them visibly for us. But when someone that you have loved with all your body, mind, heart, and soul passes, which happens to many of us, in a way, if you look at it from the soul's journey, his soul is letting her go so that she can carry on learning in other ways. And if you truly believe in the twin flame connection, that love goes on. Death has ended a life and not a relationship. That relationship can continue in spirit. And it's almost like he's saying, go on, learn and grow from other relationships. I'm still here. I'm still alive within and all around you. And anyone who's loved and lost someone will know that. They will know that the person that they have loved and lost has not gone. They're just a heartbeat away in some other place. And if you've spoken to mediums and psychics and people who've had near-death experiences, that is a universal theme. And it's a kind of a beautiful thing in a way, actually, when a loved one dies, because they kind of allow the love that you gave to them to sort of like return to you. They're almost encouraging you to nurture yourself, love yourself, and to reclaim that part of yourself you gave away whilst you're on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So you can shine even brighter. Actually, the mark of a really loving relationship, when one of the partners dies, obviously you will grieve their physical presence for a while. But after that grieving process is done, you will rise up with joy. You will celebrate that memory, and it will make you want to become more. And you will think of them with a smile before a tear. It is the most dramatic, intense spiritual awakening of them all, losing someone you love.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual wake-up call. extraordinary one. And I've spoken to many, many bereaved people over the years because I collect their stories in my books. And almost universally, all of them, after a period, awaken spiritually. And it opens their eyes that this world is not all that there is. Their loved one still visits them in their dreams, in afterlife signs, in synchronicities.
Right.
And they've got a guardian angel watching over them. Sorry, I forget the female skater's name.
Katerina, yes.
If she just died of a broken heart, I mean, it is, death by a broken heart does happen, that people are so unable to live without someone that they've united with. They quite literally die of the stress of that person not being around. It does suggest that partnership, if it had continued, might have got into trouble because we've got codependency here. Whenever you give away your happiness and your sense of completeness to someone else, it is a recipe for disaster. The greatest, most loving, long-term relationships are not gazing into each other's eyes and losing each other. They are two people holding hands and walking in the same direction and looking up at the same star, but independent in their own right, knowing that if they lost the other person, they would still be okay. That's a really big leap for a lot of people who've been fed on romantic movies.
Yes, it's huge.
But that is true love, that you can actually live quite happily without them. Obviously, you'd prefer them in your life because you get so much out of them. But if they do for some reason leave your life, you're not going to collapse, because if you do, it suggests you've given away too much of yourself to someone else. And you are not that other person. You are put here on this universe for your own soul journey. And when you get to the other side, you won't be asked, well, how much did you give away of yourself to someone else? They will say, how much did you give to yourself? How you were you? You didn't follow or copy or give away. How did you manifest your own essence? That's, I believe, how you will be, judged is the wrong word, how you will be accepted into the afterlife as your essence. Did you honor your own essence, or did you completely give it away to other people in the misguided belief often that that's the spiritual thing to do? It is a balance. We cannot live in the world where everybody's so self-centered and it's all me, me, me. That's just as bad. It is a balance. And that's one of the things in life. We have to learn how to balance all these things. It's a real spinning plates kind of thing, the spiritual journey. It's really exciting. You have to sort of like be kind and compassionate, but to a limit. The most important person to fall truly, madly, and deeply in love with is yourself. Because if you aren't truly, madly, deeply in love with yourself, if you're not happy in your own company, how on earth can you expect a relationship to give you all that? It won't. It will maybe in the short term. And I'm wondering if they'd got to a couple of decades later, that intensity would have to evolve into both of them becoming independent, but walking.
Which is a very big challenge. Yes, absolutely. Now we have our numerology sleuth here, PK, who took a look at their birth dates and their names. And PK, you found some very interesting similarities here.
Well, I think the most startling thing was the fact that they're both in the same personal year. So they both felt about things identically. And when you were taking a look at how they presented themselves, she was much more headstrong than he was. But in her chart, she had issues with the father figure. In his, he had issues with the mother figure. And so they filled that void with one another. And there's such a strong sense within them that she was stronger than he was. And I guess maybe that's why he was the one that had to pass.
Potentially, that is really interesting. And numerology is a great way to actually see where the relationship challenges and positives are, because each number has this energetic resonance. And I'm a real supporter of numerology, Patricia. But it does sound to me very much like these two, because in my book, I talk about 4 categories of relationships: karmic, false flames, soulmates, and twin flames. And I'm actually thinking now, I hear when you talk about the father and the mother, that these skaters fell into the karmic relationship category. The reason I say that is karmic relationships are all about the inner child,
Right.
not being heard or seen. So what happens in these relationships, our inner child is very needy. It will seek other people who we believe are going to heal that damaged inner child, or give us what our parents or carers or school or upbringing didn't give us.
Right.
And they can be very, very intense for that reason. But again, when you're looking to someone else to effectively parent you and correct what went wrong with your own upbringing, it's not going to work long term. Karmic relationships tend to be very intense, on and off, love you, hate you, big arguments. But what they are defined by also is the expectations of others. These relationships are often what other people think is right for you, not what actually you feel is right. So that's very interesting. And I do think that they would fall into that karmic relationship category, where we go through all these relationships. We don't escape any of them. There's only one you can escape, which is potentially the false flame. And I can talk about that in a minute. But karmic relationships, all of us have issues from our childhood which need healing. So our first relationships do tend to be ones where we're trying unconsciously, we don't realize, to heal that. It's all about inner healing, that inner journey. Because I always say all relationships, whether they're intimate or not, are a school for your soul. It's where you kind of get a progress report, where you are on your personal growth and spiritual growth. And you will know where you are by the quality of your relationships. If there's lots of dramatic falling out, lots of misunderstanding, lots of arguments, you know that you've got quite a lot of work to do in your own person. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we learn outside our comfort zone. I don't want people to think, oh, I've got to be blissful and harmonious all the time. Sometimes having a really good row with a good friend, because you can both, as long as you learn, as long as you don't keep repeating the same argument, that's dangerous. That's the definition of stupidity, isn't it? Einstein said, repeating the same mistake. If a friend can point out to you something that's hurting them that you do, and you take a look at it objectively and think, well, yeah, hey, that's not right, I'm being not a very nice person, and you don't do it again, this is evolution. It's really important, actually. I do worry about friendships or relationships sometimes where there aren't little bits of falling outs or tiffs. It's really important, because you get closer after that. And if you don't get closer, the relationship's not meant for you. I mean, some relationships are just meant for a season, others for a lifetime. You know, that's the nature of it. But think of them as school, like a report card. That you think of the people you're closest to in your life, or you spend the most time with, and the quality of those relationships. That's kind of a sign of where you are with your own journey, because we do seek out people who complement us in some way, or who are on the same wavelength, or with similar things to learn, or people who will balance us. That's the soulmate, the classic soulmate relationship. These are people who balance.
But what really caught my attention, though, is the fact that the personal numbers were the same. That's so unusual. And I wonder if you were to run, or anybody was to run, some type of a data sheet on twin flames, I bet the personal numbers would be exactly that, because there has to be some common denominator here. And I'm guessing that may be it. So very interesting.
I agree. And also birth dates. I found that people will be born on the same birthday, or born whatever, because I wrote a book about Encyclopedia of Birthdays, which was based on the numerology of the day you were born. You are absolutely spot on there. Universe, you know, they said God is the master mathematician. That everything is about numbers and whatever. Pay attention to numbers in your life, everyone. Pay attention, including your birth date. I think there's a whole psychology around the day that you were born, not the year, just the day that you were born. Look at other people. What you can do is a little exercise after this. Go and Google well-known people who were born on the same day as you, and look at their life challenges. Now, don't panic if you're born on the same day of Hitler or something, you know, because what Hitler did is he birthday has a negative and a positive energy about it. And obviously he went the bottom. But just think, if Hitler had actually, his potential to reach so many people, if that had been in a positive way, it's a choice, isn't it? Because we always have choice in our lives. So always choose the most positive, the most healing, the one that makes you feel good, one that doesn't harm other people. So don't panic, as I said, if there's some really unsavory characters born on your birthday. What you can do is look at their lives and where did they go wrong? What life lessons do you share? And I was stunned when I wrote this birthday book, how many, because you put a few famous people for each day. And each time they were like a cluster of actresses or a cluster of scientists born on the same day, or sports people. Yes. It was fascinating that they'd kind of like all gone in the same direction with their work, especially.
Huh. Well, that is a good exercise to do. I'm going to go look for another.
I mean, there are more nurses and carers, for example, and musicians born in the month of June, which is Cancer, the carer, the nurturer. And also more sports people born in September. Maybe it's because they start the school year and they tend to be more physically advanced. But, I believe recently, I can't quite recall, but Einstein's birthday, I think Stephen Hawking died on Einstein's birthday or something like that. I could be wrong here, but there was a real correlation between the death of Einstein and the birth. I can't remember that it was, and even the media reported it. Oh my goodness, Stephen Hawking's died on this day. And I'm sure people have found that, with loved ones who've departed as well, that signs will appear close to that loved one's birthday a year afterwards, the anniversary. It's really interesting.
It is. There's so much to all of this. So please tell us the next step, which is that divine connection within.
The divine connection within. Well, first of all, look at your relationships and also see if you can put them in kind of categories. As I said, the karmic relationships are about healing the inner child. Go back with the benefit of hindsight and see where, your earlier relationships and whether that was all about your inner child needing healing. Then have a look at relationships where you were completely conned or blindsided or gaslit. Those are false flame relationships. You can avoid those. Look at your soulmate relationships, people who are balance you and complement you and walk with you in life. They're kind of like a safe harbor. But then look at individuals who maybe at some point in your life have ignited a desire within you to learn and grow. And this actually could be someone you read about or think about, haven't actually even met. It's really, really interesting. And I do cover all this in the book. It's about when you have this desire to grow and awaken and actually not need other people to do that for you. And ironically, when you get to that stage, when you're not looking for other people to make you whole, when you're not looking for that outside yourself, that's often when you do tend to meet the love of your life, because you're on this frequency of not being needy or draining. People just sense that. And they want to be in your life because you inspire them also to have this independent, caring energy, yes, but also that they don't have to worry that if you're not around that you're going to collapse. But you're talking about this divine calling within, and that can happen through dreams, and it can happen actually through a restlessness. People often may come to a point in their life, perhaps they're happily married or not, or they're wanting to think about a different life path or career, or they're feeling a bit disillusioned actually with what society has sold to them about the definition of happiness. Well, like, have a relationship, maybe have children, get your career status, get your followers, be really popular on social media, have the holidays a year. And they've kind of done that, and they've been fortunate, they've worked hard, but it feels empty. So if you're listening and you've ticked all the boxes that society has expected of you, and it's just not doing it for you anymore, this is your twin flame calling your name, calling you out into the ocean, into the unknown, to really awaken spiritually, to return home to source with your thoughts and your energies. And when you do, trust me, not only will you feel decades younger, I can see that actually with high profile people in the media, when they have had a kind of a inner shift towards this twin flame union, they suddenly look decades younger, and they not necessarily because they've had cosmetic surgery. It just happens. You just suddenly awaken, and there's this youthful energy that comes about you. Look into someone's eyes, the window of the soul. You can often tell where they are with their spiritual growth through that they've suddenly got it. No, the material is not all there is. I am a dreaming being, a soul having a human experience, and all the people in my life, all the situations I encounter are learning opportunities for me, because I don't know why we're here on this earth. I don't know all the answers. I really don't. None of us do. But one thing I believe we are here for is to learn. And as long as you are learning, even if you're messing up, it's okay. Actually, mess up lots. I often tell people, go fail and fail again, because you don't learn from success. It's nice, but you don't learn. And that's why, again, look at what we see in the media. People who are wildly successful, popular, rich, beautiful, and my goodness, are they unhappy? So if all these things really did make us happy, why are they not happy? And it's because they haven't answered that spiritual call, the call of your twin flame.
You know, in the past, if people wanted to pursue a spiritual path, it would take the form of becoming a monk, yes, or a nun or something like that. It was like very difficult to integrate that with daily life. And I think now we have more opportunities for that than we ever had.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because before I went to Cambridge, I did actually consider my options. That was what I was being called to. I was born in a family of spiritualists. And I really wanted to be one of the first female priests. And I read theology at Cambridge. So I experienced that contemplative life. But actually, when I was at Cambridge, I became, like many people are today, spiritual but not religious. I saw beauty in all world religions. But one of the things about the contemplative life, if you have that's why people go on retreats, the material world is kind of, it falls away, and you're left with your own thoughts, your own being. And that's why in times past, when it was so hard for people to survive, they couldn't be removed from all that material stuff. They would have to go to a community which would offer them that. But you're absolutely right. Today, as our life has got easier with technology, with AI, doing a lot of the things that we don't have to do anymore, we do have more time, a lot of us, to do what you would do. We do have a lot of us have a much more time to become almost like a nun or a monk on a part-time basis, to meditate, because that's the thing you do most when you're in a contemplative community. You are encouraged to rise above, observe yourself, but not identify with it. See your thoughts and your emotions flowing through you, but not interact with them or judge them. To just notice what is flowing through you. And you're right, there's so many apps and helps and we have time to do that now. We have time. I mean, really, the universe, the earth at the moment, right now, we can all so close to spiritually awakening. And it's such a shame that we're not right now. I think it's fear, but I'm going to stay positive. I think more and more of us are going to follow what you, Patricia, and Patricia are inspiring in others.
We hope to inspire. That's one of the reasons we wanted you on the show, because you are so inspiring. Definitely. And it really makes sense for people to make that kind of a shift, but they don't know how. I mean, a lot of them are unfamiliar with that path. And so they're stuck in fear. They're stuck in that loop. They're stuck in aggression. Chronic illness is a big, big problem right now with so many people. And they don't see the choice, that there is a choice. So that's why I wanted you to talk to us about the inner twin flame, and how do we reach? Because that's a whole new path for people.
Yeah, always a choice. And if you are feeling like stressed and anxious and stuck and fearful, it is because you are allowing other people to impact you, the expectations of others and the world to define your sense of self and your happiness. I always say to people, you won't be happy when someone changes or when you get that job or when you have the perfect relationship or the perfect figure or the perfect balance. You will not be happy when you have that. You first of all need to be happy without all that. You just need to be happy being in your own company and loving this beautiful world we live in and all the opportunities it offers us to learn and grow, and falling in love with your own soul's evolution, your own soul's journey back home. Because I think we come on this earth really to learn so much that we can't learn in the spiritual realm, and it is a return to love. And when you understand that, your own inner peace is the new success. That's when things in your life start to fall in place. As I said, it's reversing that thinking we've been taught that we need to do all these things first to be happy. You need to be happy first. So working on your self-love, your self-belief is the most important and selfless thing you can ever do. It'll also help and heal the planet, because when one person lights up from the inside and gets this inner peace, this elusive inner peace that we're all seeking, but often in the wrong ways, it inspires others to do the same. It all does start with amazing you. And that's why dream work, I know, Patricia, you and I have been in touch a lot about dreams because you're a dream expert as well. That dreams are one of the first calling cards from your twin flame, because every morning you wake up with a snapshot of your current mindset in symbolic, metaphorical language on your mind. And it's your dreaming mind, your intuition, your soul, for want of a better word, trying to tell you where you are on your soul's journey, your soul's evolution, and pointing out red flags and challenges and obstacles that you are maybe not facing up to in your waking life. So heed your dreams, everyone. That's part of the twin journey. That's where, inner union often starts. If you can fall in love with your dreams and your dream work, you're well on your way to falling in love with yourself. And when you fall in love with yourself, not in a narcissistic way, I can't emphasize that enough, but everything happens, and you start believing in yourself as well. Because I do work a lot with scientists and neuroscientists, and the number one factor with people who identify as psychic, for example, when they're given tests, the psychics who score higher than others, is first and foremost the quality that psychics have is self-belief. They believe that they are born psychic. They have this DNA, and we all have this psychic DNA within us. But that people who go on to maybe make their living as psychics or to talk about it or to be psychic, they believe in themselves. And I'm at the point actually when I don't think there's much difference now between self-belief and self-love and being psychic. Because if you believe in yourself, you're going to follow your gut instinct. You're not going to second guess it, because a lot of us get these gut instincts or these dreams that are prophetic or helpful, but we wake up and because we're conditioned to be fearful, we dismiss it and we don't follow it. Whereas someone who has worked on their self-care and their self-belief and their self-awareness as well, all these, I think it starts with self-awareness, then self-care, then self-belief. That's the ladder of yourself. Someone who has worked on that, I believe, whether they know it or not, they are psychic, because then they will go about their life and make decisions that are right for them and put them in the path of opportunities.
Yes, exactly. I mean, one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients is before you go to sleep at night, ask the question, who am I? Because I feel like a lot of us throughout these many generations have fallen into an identity crisis where we don't know. And if we are unfortunate enough to have very difficult family situations, what is being mirrored back to us is unpleasant. So we need to find out who we are. Who are we? Not just looking into the mirror of mommy and daddy. Who are we? And it sounds like this is a lot of the twin flame path, is really finding that.
Finding out who are you. Take away your job, your relationships, take all that away. Who are you? And I'm all of life is learning. Every situation you're in is a learning one. My partner of 30 years, my soulmate, my husband, has Alzheimer's. And I am having to, because obviously when you have Alzheimer's, you forget who you are. You know, I believe Ronald Reagan had it, didn't he? And our former Prime Minister here, Margaret Thatcher. And people did, Bruce Willis. We so identified these people by their identity, like Bruce Willis was the die-hard guy, you know, Ronald Reagan, you know, your president, and Margaret Thatcher. You take that away. Life took that away from them. Was it? I don't know why. The theory of Alzheimer's fascinates me. Was it because these people had to connect with their own soul, find out who they were independent, you know, whilst they were still on this earth, to find out who they are independent of that? I think there's a spirituality about dementia, which is a growing problem now. Millions of people around the world having that, when they literally forget, because we're often told we are our memories. What if your memories go and you're still alive? You're still a soul. What's going on there? Who is that person? Who am I? So think about that. You know, it may come to many, many people. You know, it's like 1 in 4, I believe now. When that happens.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's million. Yeah, I think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I will have to check on that.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Millions of people have it. But when you engage with someone with dementia, there's still a soul. Their soul's still there, right? You know, helping them return home in a different way. Maybe they have to learn, really, maybe the tough way, how to do without all this identity imposed on them by the material. It's fascinating, isn't it? When you lose concept of time, when you lose concept of memory, who are you? I love that, Patricia. And to ask yourself that each night, and to know that you're going to be okay if you lose things, that is real spiritual strength. That is inner resilience. And I always come back to my book of all time, Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl, he was in the Holocaust. Can you imagine? For years and years, his whole family slaughtered around him, treated like an animal, everything, his memories, his identity, taken away from him. But he was able to transform that pain into purpose, to connect with spiritual essence. What a book, what a message. And I often say to people who are going through a hard time, well, it can't have been as bad as what he was going through. And he found a way to connect in spirit to the essence of life. Remarkable. And we can all evolve that way. People think, well, that's just a remarkable person. And what his message was, and what my message is, we all have that ability. We are all afraid of it, though. We are afraid of our own power. It's almost like we think, well, if I don't need other people, then I become irrelevant and nobody will need me. Why are we so fearful of that? We've got to let that go. We've got to let that go, because the more of us do that, the more the world will evolve. Because at the moment, the world is stuttering. We live in a time of global conflict. And where the shadow is taking over. And the shadow is people who basically have based their identity on outside in, not inside out. We need to
That's a way to describe that. Yeah, that's excellent. But you know what you're talking about with this gentleman who survived such incredible horror and made a choice to connect so strongly with the spirit. It's the only choice there is for all of us, no matter what we're going through. And I think that's what people are missing. You just gave me the title from my last chapter in my book, The Only Choice There Is, because that is the truth. And we keep forgetting that. We keep looking at the drama and living the drama, and now we're in a loop, and now we're sick, and now we feel miserable, and now we're in pain, and now we can't get out of it. And so we miss that one piece, the only choice there is. Thank you.
Is to rise above and realize that you are more, you are not your thoughts, your feelings, your relationships, your job. You are not that. You are something more. You can observe all that and rise above it. And it's a blissful, transcendent place to be. And that is the most passionate connection that your soul can ever have. It's really the connection with your higher version of yourself. I won't say higher self because that's like a destination again. I don't think there is one higher self you've got to go meet. I think it's constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. And if you believe in an afterlife, all the people I've spoken to who believe they can connect to the afterlife, the evolution, the learning continues. It doesn't stop. We have got to stop thinking of life as a destination and as a journey. And that's why the subtitle of the book is The Twin Flame Journey. It is an endless one. And if we can fall in love with that journey.
There it is. A beautiful book. That's understanding your soul's most passionate connection. What a great subtitle.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. But as I said, I hope it will help people. I really do. It will help them understand why and stop beating themselves up. A lot of people feel guilty or they feel they've made mistakes and they're filled with regret and everything. This is all good for you. This is all helping you learn and grow. Because if you're always comfortable, if you're always getting everything right, you will not learn and grow. You will just stay where you are. And that's not what your soul wants. Your soul wants you to go to Mordor. I'm always going on about the Lord of the Rings. We don't want them to stay in the Shire because they wouldn't evolve. Frodo's got to go in search of the ring. He's got to find out who he is.
Yes.
And that's what keeps us on the edge of our seats, is that journey. That's the thrilling part. And a lot of people listening right now, wake up. A lot of the happiest times of your life have already happened and you haven't been aware of them because you've been so focused on ahead. Wake up to the power of now and everything that you have to be grateful for right now, because life goes so fast.
Too fast.
I can't believe how fast it goes. And talk to people who are in their final years. And the most contented ones in their final days, because I did work in a hospice for a while and had the privilege of sitting with people when they are passing, are the ones who don't have any regrets. You know, it's so painful when someone is in their final days and they're filled with regrets. You don't want to live a life like that. Your soul doesn't want that for you. It wants you to live every moment to the full, to savor everything and not give away your power constantly to what you are told you need to be a successful, happy person. Stop giving your power away to others' definition of that. You find it within yourself first.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. So true. Thank you so much, Theresa. This has been so wonderful having you here this morning and tonight. But Theresa, we know you've always got another book in the wings. So what's next? Give us another reason to have you back.
For a novel I wrote last year, which I'd love to work more on, called Nightborn, which is about this inside out journey. That's all I'll say about that for now. But coming up later this year, I have a book which is about shadow work. It's called Extreme Dreaming. And I was actually just sent the cover and they've done a wonderful job. And it's not just nightmares. It's also about these thoughts, these self-destructive thoughts we have when we're awake, impulses. I mean, I don't know if anyone listening, have they ever sort of like stood at the edge of a platform and just had this irrational sort of urge to, of course we don't act on it because we are sane and we are rational and conscious beings, but these negative, and also in a conversation, sometimes we have negative thoughts will suddenly just invade us. Extreme thoughts that come out of nowhere and we don't know what to do with them and think, where have they come from? So this book explores the power of those and what they are trying to tell you. It's quite a unique book where I've really gone with my dream work to places I never thought I'd go before. And it starts with vivid depictions of nightmares, and the classic nightmare of an operation gone wrong, where you go in to have eye surgery and they do it on the wrong eye, and you come out. I get sent all these because I realize so many people, again, one of my books are based on what people messaged me about, were nightmarish. The silent scream, the vampires, the monsters, the being chased, being murdered, all these things. So I wanted to explore why so many of our dreams are dark. And there's a very
I love the title, Extreme Dreaming. That's fantastic. I love it. I can't wait to see this book. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, this is wonderful. And this has, again, been a delightful hour to spend with you. We know you have to get going, so we will reluctantly let you go a few minutes early so you can get ready for your next adventure today. But Theresa, thank you so much for all that you do.
Well, likewise, ditto, I'm going to say to you too. And also look at the synchronicity of your names. I mean, there's more, there are patterns in the universe to each other. PB
we
and
dear friends. We are very dear friends with each other and have known each other for a long time now. And we both feel blessed by what we do. Wonderful people we meet like you that enrich our lives. And it's so great to have you on, because you have
never stopped
such a way with words and such a way to inspire our audience. And that's what we aim to do with all of our guests, is open the mind, give a whole nother way of living that's better, that's
true,
more prosperous, more peaceful, more of everything that you want that's good. So thank you so much. We'll let you go, Theresa, and we'll be back next week, everybody, with another great show. And until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. That's the dreaming highway, by the way. The Blue Highway. That's what I talk about every ending. Nobody knows what it is. It's the dream world. See you there. Good night.
Good night.